Hello everyone, welcome to the video. I'm feeling slightly ill, which is why I put some honey in my tea. Sweet things, no, no. Unfortunately, sweet things do not do shit for me. And like specifically a sweet, warm drink, no, I can't do it. I don't want to do it, frankly. The only thing that I can drink with a lot of honey in it is like lemon juice and hot water. I don't have any lemon juice, unfortunately, so I just put it in my green tea. And not to be dramatic, but it is vile. I put some milk in because I thought maybe that would dilute it a little bit, but I feel like that's made it worse. But you know what? My throat has been kind of scratchy the last few days. We're gladly drinking the honey. But let me get you into the reading updates. The good thing is, even though we haven't spoken to each other in 6 weeks, you have missed absolutely nothing in my reading life. I have finished one singular book, literally yesterday. That was the only book so far I've read in November, and it's like the 26th, I think. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't think there's gonna be another one before December, which is fine. So yeah, we basically are still exactly where we left off 6 weeks ago. And I'm still currently reading All of Us Murderers. I think I had just started this when I last spoke to you, and I'm now about halfway through. And this is like fun. However, it is not particularly my kind of book. To me personally, it is just a little bit too paranormal. Like I don't care for a ghost story, I think. Everything I have ever read that had a paranormal twist, I was disappointed with. Do I have any other thoughts on this? It's very fun. It's very quick as well. Both of these, I'm on page 200, and I've essentially only had 2 reading sessions where I each read 100 pages in one go. And so it's very readable. I do like the main character, Zeb. He's very cute and fun, and I find him quite relatable. However, his love interest, Gideon, isn't too fleshed out of a character so far. We are in Zeb's POV, kind of. It is written in third person, so it is not 100% just following Zeb in that sense, but the narrator is mostly following Zeb and his perception of things, and so we don't really know much about Gideon at this point. I also looked at the author's note in the back, and yes, I did spoil myself. Yes, I did. I'm not like particularly mad at it. It's not like a spoiler that will ruin this entire book for me. And also like the fact that like the title kind of, I could have gotten there myself, you know. Also, one thing I'm thinking about the title, the fact that it says All of Us Murderers is weird, as this is not written from a self-narration point of view. Like this is not written in first person singular or first person plural. So I do think it's odd that the writing, like the title of the book would be first person. But yeah, that's just an observation I have made. Again, I don't love a ghost story. I do think like it's a very vibey book, but I'm just not sure that this is for me. However, if you are interested in paranormal books or you like historical queer romance stories, I do think in those categories this book is doing well. It's just that I don't personally enjoy those categories of books. Also, I haven't acknowledged this. Yes, I got new glasses. It is very exciting. I got another pair as well. I'm sure you'll meet them sometime in this video. Yeah, still reading, what's it called? The Son of Neptune? Yeah, The Son of Neptune by Riordan. I think I haven't made any progress since I last talked to you, and I'm also doing a separate reading blog for this, so this is not going to be featured much in this video. And then I've been reading Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Indigenous wisdom, scientific knowledge, and the teachings of the plants. This is so cool. This is a book by a what's it called? I always forget. She's Native American, Potawatomi. She's a Potawatomi Nation botanist, and she works in New York in a university as a decorated professor. And she obviously is also indigenous, and so she kind of uses or she talks in this book about indigenous wisdoms and stories that she's grown up with and the way that those stories connect to the scientific world. You know, like how certain observations indigenous people have made about nature and kind of concluded their own stories out of them, how they actually like scientifically make sense. And it's really cool. And it's a lot about like kind of living in peace with nature. It is a lot about gratitude so far, which I think is really cool. And yeah, it is just it's a very rich read, I want to say. And I started this like 2 months ago, maybe. I'm about 100 pages in, but I've been kind of getting in the habit over the last 2 weeks to just read one chapter every single day. And I've been going really well with that. Also, I love this picture of her, like just hugging the tree. I don't know if you can see. I don't know. There's something, she looks very, very like content in this picture, but also I do love the fact that she was just like, yeah, I'm gonna hug a tree for my author portrait on my best-selling non-fiction book. I do think that's funny. Yeah. So I've been, as I said, going a chapter a day. I've been annotating this. So as you can see, yeah, I love annotating so much. Annotating books is one of the great joys in life. I don't get people who don't do it. I got new glasses. I haven't been reading, and I think that's about it. That's what you missed on Pretentious Sunshine. So I've done a couple of things that needed to get done. I was on a quick little walk, just literally 20 minutes, but I did pick up some lemon juice so that now I can have honey. The other thing is I put some ginger in this, and the ginger was like blue, green, kind of like jade garlic, if you know that. And I was like, okay, but I Googled it and the internet says it's fine. It's just like a chemical reaction that occurs when you store ginger for a while, and that root happened a little bit older. I checked for mold. It looked fine. It smelled like ginger, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna live, you know? So put some ginger in this, and if I don't feel like at least 10 times better after drinking this, I think this might be a lost cause. Now I have to do a little bit of reading for uni because I have to leave in like 2-ish hours to go to my afternoon lectures, and I haven't done my reading for that lecture yet. So we are gonna be doing that today, right now. And do I still have, yeah, I actually do have that article open already. I've been thinking, and I need your cooperation on this. I've been thinking about maybe doing like a video series or incorporating it into the vlogs where I talk about all of the academic papers I read for uni. Because this semester I read between like 4 and 5 papers every single week right now, all either on politics and or China/East Asia. Right now I'm doing a lot of Korea and Japan stuff. Throughout the end of the semester it's gonna be more China related. But I'm reading a lot of this and I talk about it in class obviously, which is cool, but I feel like some of the stuff I've been reading, some of the articles I've been reading, I just found really interesting, like even if I wasn't studying this. So I do think it'd be cool and fun to maybe talk about this on the channel, but I don't know if anyone would actually care. That's the other thing. I'm reading like 100 pages of nonfiction every single week just for university. And so just like that is on top of all the other reading I do. And I talk about all the other reading I do on the channel. And this was just kind of exempt from that. And I don't know. I feel like that could be fun. Let me know what you think, if you'd be interested. I'm gonna do that now. I also do have to, I have already finished my reading for Chinese this evening, but I do think I'm gonna go through that again. I'm gonna go through that again as well because I have a friend who has like selected this text, and I wanna make sure that when she does like when she gives her lecture on it, that I can like properly understand what she talks about and can like ask questions and, you know, support her. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read today's paper, which apparently is about Korean Confucianism. Confucianism? I don't know. That's what we're gonna do today, right now, and then that's pretty much the only thing I'm gonna do before I go to uni, I think. So yeah, wish me luck. Okay, I am so annoyed with myself because I was just, you know, in the city center, as you do as a European, and I was just strolling about, and I met with a friend because I wanted to do some very minor gift shopping, and we met up and we split ways, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna head to the city library right now because I still don't have a fucking library card in my university town. So I was like, I've been meaning to do this for months, let's just go. I finally walk over there. She's like, okay, I need your ID card for the registration. It's like and then I was like, yeah, of course I have it. I opened my wallet. I in fact do not have it. I have forgotten it because I needed it this morning for like some admin work on my computer. It's so annoying. This is the first time I've gone there in 3 months since I've been meaning to. It's fine. Yeah, I actually thought about just like picking it up right now and then going back. But honestly, the weather, it doesn't really capture on camera. But there's just this very fine mist. If you live like anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, I'm sure you're familiar. It's just this very fine mist that, like an umbrella, you need an umbrella, but also the umbrella kind of doesn't do anything because the mist is so fine that the wind just like blows it in all directions. It's not just falling from the sky. So it's like very wet and it's kind of windy and it's also gloomy. I don't know. I might go back later. It's only like 1 p.m. right now, and if I don't, maybe I'll go tomorrow. Maybe I can convince my roommate to go with me. That's usually what I do if I'm not in the mood to do something. I just force my roommate to do it with me and then it's fine. Unfortunately, I don't have a fucking library card still. Yeah, in terms of reading, I'm almost done with All of Us Murderers. I'm not gonna pick it. I'm not gonna get it right now. Okay, I have 75 pages left. I'm just gonna tell you my thoughts and feelings in depth once I have finished it. But I think I'm gonna do that now. Actually, I think I'm gonna make lunch and then I'm gonna finish it. And yeah, I think then afterwards, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and continue reading The Son of Neptune. The thing is, for me, a reading slump is not being unable to read. For me, it is more reading and reading and reading and feeling like I still will never finish a book again. Usually when I have a reading slump, I just pick up a billion different books and finish none of them. So I have like a huge stack of books that I've been meaning to make my way through. So I finished one earlier this week, then I'm going to finish All of Us Murderers today, and then I'm hoping to maybe also finish The Son of Neptune semi-soon, just to have all of them out of the way. I don't want to look at them anymore. Also, I just want to finish the book. I'm very excited. I'm also very excited for the third one and like to continue this series because I'm having a really good time with it. So that's the plan for the rest of the day. I'm gonna keep you posted when I go back to the library. I've also never like been inside the library here, and I'm like very excited to just browse, see kind of their collection, what they have, look at their movies. I've been really into watching a lot of movies recently, and I don't pay for streaming. And so I'm just watching everything on my DVD or Blu-ray player, and I don't really like utilize streaming that much. And libraries usually also have a great catalog of movies, so I would like to have a look at that. Thank you so much for listening to my rambles. I'm so annoyed. I never take my ID card out of my wallet. I always have it with me. I'm so thorough with I never lose important shit. I lose a lot of shit. I've never lost my keys. I've never lost my wallet. I've never lost a phone. And I just forgot my ID card. I didn't think about it. Okay, whatever. It's fine. I'm gonna have a mug of tea. I'm gonna eat something. I'll talk to you later. Okay, everyone. I finished, what's it called? All of Us Murderers. It is quite late, okay? So this review might not be as cohesive as it could be. My final thoughts. I think this book was good. It was better than I had initially thought it would be, because this book started, in my opinion, weaker than it ended. I think the first half of it was it didn't do as well of a job to establish the stakes of the story. And so I just couldn't really grasp what we were doing here, why we were doing it. And then in the second half, specifically like the last 100 pages, 150 pages or so, the stakes were first of all like specified. Like I just knew what we were working with, what kind of scope the story was working within. It also did a great job to kind of establish and familiarize us more with the characters that have been set up. And overall, the second half of this was just, in my opinion, a lot stronger. I do have to say, character work in this, incredible. I hated all of these people and I absolutely adored the main character, Zeb. He seems like a very sweet human being. I did like the relationship. I think I mentioned in an update that I thought the love interest Gideon wasn't as well developed. While I still think that, I do believe them that they're in love. You know, like sometimes when you have a relationship where you have the protagonist and then they're dating this other person, you have no idea why, and the story is just not explaining to you why or how these people like each other. In my opinion, that's not true here. We don't really learn too much about Gideon as a person, but also that wasn't really necessary for him and their relationship to work in this narrative. So I think this was well executed, and also I think a lesser author might have felt compelled to over-explain Gideon's character, and KJ Childs didn't do that, and I can appreciate that because she didn't think I was stupid. So I did love the epilogue. The epilogue was very funny. I can read you part of the epilogue because it doesn't really... Can I? I think it's funny, but if you don't want to know, and it's not going to spoil, it's not going to be related to the plot at all, but if you don't want to know anything about this book, maybe skip this part, okay? The last sentence of the epilogue, it goes as follows. Walter Wickham's average rating on Goodreads is 2.3 stars. The top rated text review for The Monastery reads, in full, boring. Overall, KJ Childs, her voice is very charming. I felt very drawn in by her character specifically, but just by the way she was talking, because it simultaneously felt very rooted in this time period. This takes place at the turn of the century, between the 19th and 20th century, and at the same time it also felt modern, as in I felt very connected to the text, which I thought was very well done. I know she mainly publishes independently. I think she has like this book and another series published in this by Poison Pen Press. Poison Pen Press is such a cool name, but I do know, I'm pretty sure she also publishes a lot, like she self-publishes a lot, which is cool. So yeah, I'm gonna check that out more. I'm so glad, because for a second there, like in the first half, I kind of thought I might have to unhaul this, like I might not want to keep this book, but we really turn things around here. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet, but one key aspect of this book is that the main character, Zeb, he has ADHD. In a time when obviously ADHD was not recognized as a disease, she mentions in the author's note that the symptoms of ADHD were started to be recorded at this time period, but ADHD would not be recognized as a psychological disorder until I think the 60s. So it was very interesting to kind of see, because like I mean obviously we still have a far way to go, but we've also come a long way in the last 150 years or so. And so to me, like seeing this character like constantly fidgeting and talking about feeling incredibly trapped in an enclosed space and constantly losing stuff and misplacing things and all of these things that I now know are very commonly associated with ADHD, and him like being actively ostracized in society because of that is just a little bit crazy to me. And obviously like people get still, ableism is still a thing today, but I do think there has been a lot of change. And yeah, that is also like a thing about the relationship between these two characters. Obviously ADHD is not something that people knew about as a disorder at the time. However, the love interest Gideon, he's like, he gets Zeb, like he understands how Zeb's brain works, and he's able to like communicate with that or communicate around that, and he finds all of these little ways to like adapt everyday life for Zeb, and it's very wholesome. Yeah, if you have ADHD and you've read this book, let me know what you thought, but I do think it is a very kind portrayal of it. Let me get into some other reading thoughts that I'm having right now. I haven't read my chapter of Braiding Sweetgrass yet, but I think I'm probably gonna go that in a bit when I go to sleep, because I just just like one chapter a day has been working really well. I really like the last chapter I read. It was about gardening and gratitude, and like how the earth is essentially our epiphany in the beans is what it's called. And it's essentially about how while she was picking beans, she had this whole epiphany about like the earth is our mother, and we have a loving relationship. We should have a loving relationship with the earth, and if we do, we'll get something out of it, and the earth will get something out of it. And it was just very like profound, but in a very simplistic kind of way. Robin Wall Kimmerer constantly talks about cultivating a loving relationship with the land and with the earth, and she talked about that in that chapter specifically, and also in previous chapters she's talked about it, about planting a garden and knowing how to garden. And I don't have a garden. I live 2 stories above ground, so a garden is not in my near future, but I do hope to like plant some stuff on our balcony next year. We have a north facing balcony, so there's no sunlight, which might be a challenge, but I do find this very inspiring. Okay, and then as for the novel I plan to read next, I want to go into another book that I've started but that has been on pause, and that is The Son of Neptune. As I said, I'm filming a separate reading blog for the series, so I'm not going to be talking about this book in depth. This is like mildly unrelated. I think I might hit 50 plus books this year, and that'll be the first year probably ever that I read 50 plus books, because I usually sit between 40 and 45 books. That is generally how much I read in a year. I've read less, like I had a reading year where I read 39 books. I've also read more. I think the most I've read thus far is 47 books in a year, but this was book number 46 or 47 maybe? No, 46 I think. And we still have a whole month to go. So I do think there's a quite realistic chance that I might hit 50 books, which I've never done before. And I've only done this year because I read all of Heartstopper this year. I do think that's quite cool. I do feel quite impressed with myself. I've also already surpassed the number of pages that I have read last year. So yeah, very satisfied with the numbers going on. I'm gonna do like a whole video reflecting on my reading year, I think, but I might hit 50 books this year. And then we also have my e-reader. She hasn't made an appearance in a while. Honestly, I've been not in a big e-reader mood or like e-book mood. I don't know if I want my next book to be a Christmas book, but I might. I usually just reread the same Christmas books over and over again. But I think I'm willing to add maybe 1 or 2 new ones into the rotation this year. And I have decided to get the ebook for Murder for Christmas by Frances Duncan. This is the 4th book in a mystery, like in an amateur sleuth sort of mystery series. However, I don't care. If I really like this one, I might check the other ones out. But I have not read Poirot in order. I'm not reading Miss Marple in order. I don't really care about that, because usually these crime mystery novels are very closed off stories, and there might be a reoccurring character here and there or a reference to something I might not get, but I'm fine with that. So yeah, I'm thinking about reading that one next after Heroes of Olympus, or maybe parallel to Heroes of Olympus. I'm not sure yet. But then I also have 2 Christmas books I want to reread this year. So I'm thinking that might be all the new Christmas books we read this year. I'm not really sure. It depends how busy I am in December. I can't really tell yet how busy I'll be with uni, because it feels like a lot, but at the same time I feel like I have a lot of free time. So we'll see. Okay, and then the last update, I promise I'm done in a minute, okay? The last update I have for you is the audiobook I'm listening to. I'm currently listening to The Anxious Generation, and as I'm telling you this, I am remembering that I don't know the author name and I haven't looked it up, even though I meant to before this update. Something Height, I think his name is. And he is I think sociological psychologist, something along those lines. And The Anxious Generation is about how my generation, Gen Z, and the younger generation, or the people that came after us, are raised on our phones and on social media, and how that has led to a mental health epidemic. or maybe pandemic, honestly, because it's everywhere. And it is very interesting. He talks a lot about the loss of childhood, how while the online world is so unsafe, we leave it so unrestricted for children, whereas the real world is comparatively incredibly safe for children, and we restrict them here so much, or there, since this is a virtual space, but you get what I mean. And you know how, like, our grandparents' generation, they would have been allowed to roam around the neighborhood all day with their friends at 6 years old and just come home for dinner, and that would just work. And how most parents nowadays wouldn't allow their 6-year-old child to do that sort of thing. But then also about how social media as an unrestricted space is dangerous in terms of content, yes, but also just in terms of how it blocks us from experiencing life, that blocks experiences that would be needed for us to properly develop and properly function. And it's really interesting. The book is mainly focused, or it's addressed to people raising young people. So teachers, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, that sort of thing. It's not really written for the anxious generation, if you will. However, I'm still finding it incredibly valuable so far. I do have to say, like everyone my age, okay? Like everyone my age, I'm this close to getting rid of my smartphone, okay? And I'm doing better than most. This is the only social media I have. I have YouTube and I have a Tumblr blog. And honestly, you can rip my Twilight Tumblr blog out of my cold dead hands, okay? So, not to be dramatic or anything, but I fucking love Tumblr. It's the best, okay? Don't go on there. It's just good because you're not on Tumblr, okay? Yeah, he just talks a lot about how we were deprived of so much that should have made us functioning adults because we were raised in these online spaces, and about how it seems so inevitable to be in these online spaces and all of these things. So far, honestly, it's just making me feel really hopeless because, as I said, I want to get rid of my smartphone. I don't want to be on social media. I would like to live in an off-grid cabin in the woods. I don't. But like, that's what modern tech companies are making me feel at the minute, okay? And right now it's just he talks about like parents that he's talked to, and how all of them seem to have the same issue, that they feel like all they do every single day, all day, is just fight with their children about internet use and internet restrictions. And my child wants to be on Instagram. My child says if I block their Instagram, they're gonna kill themselves. My child says they're ostracized at school because they can't use social media. All of these things that force this narrative that I also have in my head, that social media is so inevitable for young people and that we need to be on there, and that there's nothing anyone can do about it. Parents can't do anything about it. And the scary thing is, I was that kid. I was 100% fighting with my mother about my social media use because she wanted to restrict it. She wanted me to be less on it. She wanted to take my phone away. She restricted our internet, all of these things. And I fought with her every single day about it. And she was right. I mean, yeah, she was. Let's just leave it at that. She was right. And right now it's not a particularly hopeful thing he's talking about, because the other thing is, like, the reason social media is so detrimental is because it stops us from not only experiencing our own lives, but also experiencing life with other people. And so even if I hadn't had any social media access, if all of my friends did and all of them had these experience blockers, so many experiences blocked through social media, I still wouldn't have been able to properly develop, because then everyone that I was interacting with and growing with would have been affected by their social media use. And it's very bleak, honestly. And it's making me quite scared about, like, if I ever want to have kids, like, what the hell am I going to do about that and all of these things. And I know the last part of the book, I think it's split into 4 parts. I'm currently in part 2. The last part is going to be about, like, what can you do? How can you help? How can you get off social media? How can you keep your children off of social media? All of these things. And I'm very intrigued by that part, because so far it doesn't sound like there's any sort of solutions. He gives, like, hard markers. He says, like, kids shouldn't have a smartphone before 14. Kids shouldn't be on social media before 16, which are all markers that I agree with. But if I had a 12-year-old nagging me every single day of their lives, not coming home because they're using the internet in a friend's house, maybe sneaking a smartphone from somewhere, from saving their I don't know, like pocket money or whatever, like I would probably cave too. I don't know what you would realistically do about that, so I'm very excited for that part. Because again, right now it's making me feel bleak. Yeah, but I am really enjoying it. It's definitely a very enriching and informative read, and I'm glad that I'm reading it now, because I think this year is it for me with social media. I think I'm going to continue doing booktube, but I hope by this time next year I don't use social media anymore. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, that is all for tonight, I think. I'm gonna have a quick snack because I'm kind of hungry again, and then I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you all in the morning. Hello everyone, happy Sunday, happy first Advent. I have a quick little reading update for you because I have a confession. I actually lied to you. Yes, I did. I'm very sorry. Yeah, when I said that I was going to continue in Son of Neptune, that was a blatant lie, apparently, because I actually started Murder for Christmas by, I think his name is Francis Duncan, and I am having a good time. I'm about 25% in, so not too far yet. I do like the atmosphere. It is very like snowy, big country estate, traditional Christmas vibes. My only gripe with it, there's some like odd writing choices that I'm not 100% sure how I feel about them. Because the author, like, first of all, the author constantly uses full government names when he talks about characters. He's like, "So how are you doing today?" Mordecai Tremaine asked. And I'm like, that is my POV character. You don't need to government name him every single time you talk to him, about him, you know? Just like a little bit odd to me. It's not illegal, it's just odd, you know? So that is one thing that I've been noticing so far that has kind of like stood out to me about the writing. I do think it's fun, it is very charming. I do like the characters. There are a lot of characters though, and I haven't 100% managed to decipher all of them. Like I usually have to think once he mentions a character, like who was that again? How are they related to the story? It takes me a second. I usually do get there though. This is a fourth book in a series, I think I mentioned that, and the series is about Mordecai Tremaine, who's a like 60-plus-year-old man who likes to read romance stories and solve crime. And he is invited to Christmas at this country estate by a person he's only ever met once at a party, and the person's secretary like wrote to him and is like, "Hey, my boss doesn't know that I'm telling you this, but I think something is going on here and I need your help." So Mordecai's like, "You know what? I like my family. I do love some drama." So he tells his family, "Sorry, I can't come. I have other Christmas plans." And he goes to this country estate. And so far he's just kind of like meeting everyone, kind of getting a grasp on all of the things going on and on all the mysterious things happening. Because there's a couple of things that are like nothing outright bad or criminal or weird is happening, but it's just all a little bit too odd. And he thinks, and I agree, he thinks that like so many oddities at once is just, it's just one too many, you know? Because like there's the secretary who thinks something's going on with his boss. There's a girl who thinks something's going on with her caretaker. There's a group of strange people just like hanging around near the estate, and it's just all a little bit too strange for comfort. So yeah, I'm, as I said, about a quarter of the way into the book. I'm having a good time. This is my first Christmas read of the year. I'm so excited. I love my Christmas reads. Oh, there's so many bad Christmas books. I have thought about this. I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, obviously, a lot of Christmas books are bad because they're just kind of churned out in order to drive sales quickly. So finding good Christmas books is a little bit tough in my opinion, but I'll let you know if this one's worth the read. Do I have any plans today? Actually, I do. I want to do Christmas decorating today. Yes, it is time since it's the first Advent. And also I have the dried oranges now. The day has come, you guys, okay? And you're not ready. Yesterday, my roommate wasn't at home and I like sent her a photo of the orange slices and she was like, oh my God, the madness has begun. And I'm like, yes, it is time. So, So I'm very excited to do that later today. It is, of course, gloomy and dark outside. I'm so glad I went on that walk yesterday because it was literally the only hour of sunlight we have had all week. So yeah. Okay, everyone. I have 3 books that I'm going to recommend for Christmas reads. Because as I said, I think a lot of Christmas books are bad. And also I like to reread the same Christmas books over and over again. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead with my first recommendation, which is obviously A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I usually read this German copy I have because I got this when I was like 13 or 14 and I have basically reread it every single year since. And just this specific German text is the Christmas nostalgia for me. I have read the English version as well. One year I tried. I just wanted to check it out, see what it was like, and I didn't like it as much. But I do have the English copy for reference, obviously. So yeah, absolute masterpiece of a novel. My favorite book of all time. If you have somehow never read A Christmas Carol, let this be your sign. It is your time. Your time has come, okay? I am telling you. I am very excited to reread A Christmas Carol. I think it's probably gonna be the next book I read after A Murder for Christmas. Maybe I'll do one non-Christmas book in between. I don't know, but I'm really in the mood for Christmas books this year. The next one I have here, this is a German copy, but there is an English translation as far as I know, and that is Castle in the Clouds. First of all, look at this cover. She is so stunning. Kerstin has been working with the same illustrator for like her entire career basically, or like the past decade at least. And they have their style down. This cover is so beautiful. And actually all of these people on the cover, like once you have read the book, you actually know who all of these people are. They are well enough, illustrated well enough that you can actually tell who's who, which is so cool. Castle in the Clouds is about, well, in German she's called Fanny Funke, but I'm pretty sure her English name is Sophie Spark. And she is a high school dropout who decided, I'm not doing this anymore. And she decided to take on a year-long internship in a Swiss hotel. And the hotel used to be like very glamorous golden age, but it has kind of fallen from grace over the past few years a little bit. But they're still incredibly infamous for their Christmas parties and traditions. And so this book takes place basically, I think, from like the 22nd of October into just the new year. So it covers that magical 2-week period where time doesn't exist and it's all just good food and snow. And it is technically a mystery book as well, I would say, in terms of genre. But this is really a no plot, just vibes book. If you go into this expecting a plot, you're gonna be disappointed. I remember when I first read this book, I was like halfway through and I was having a great time, and then suddenly I was like, what is actually happening in this book? The answer is nothing, and you're gonna have to make your peace with it, but it is so good. This is genuinely, like, in terms of one of the most atmospheric books I have ever read. And if you like snow, if you like winter, if you like the cold, if you like Christmas spirit and that magical time between Christmas and New Year's, this is the book for you. I usually like to read this over Christmas and in that week between Christmas and New Year's, because that is when the majority of the plot takes place, but any time in winter is honestly going to work. You could even read this in like January, February, because Christmas is a big part of it, but it's more about winter than it is about Christmas, I would say. Yeah, it is fantastic. I absolutely love it. One of my favorite books, period. And then the last one I would recommend to you, I don't actually own a physical copy of, unfortunately, but that is the Enchanted Sonata by, what's her name? Heather Dixon, I think. This is a Nutcracker retelling. I think it's the only Nutcracker retelling I've ever read, but honestly, I think I've peaked. So this follows the very traditional Nutcracker story of Clara she is, in this universe, she's a musician, and she is supposed to have her big like concert on Christmas, and she's also kind of expected / she's expecting to marry another musician in their concert hall thingy organization. And she gets gifted a nutcracker and a book about a nutcracker. And then she wakes up one day and she's in that realm. It is a very classic nutcracker story, but there's this twist, obviously, with the music. Music is a big part of the story and a big part of the magic system as well. I would also say it's a lot grimmer. The realm of the Nutcracker has been basically destroyed by the overtaking of the Rat King. And the rats in this are terrifying. First of all, they're as big as dogs. Like, there's this scene that I still think about where they're just like running around the woods, and there's this huge herd of knee-high rats just following them. Ugh. Yeah, but it is so magical and atmospheric. It's probably one of the most magical books I have ever read. And while it is a fantasy novel, and it is definitely a high fantasy novel too, I do think it feels very grounded and it isn't a spectacle, it's just a very beautiful, magical sort of world that all of this takes place in. And it was just so beautiful. I would also really recommend this one. All of these would work for younger readers, but this one specifically, if you have like a nephew or niece that is like 12 to 14 years old, I think this one would really work for them, especially if they have any sort of interest in music as well. These are the 3 books, Castle in the Clouds and A Christmas Carol. I reread these quite regularly. A Christmas Carol I've probably read like 7 or 8 times. I think this one I've read 3 or 4 times. At this point, I think this year's going to be my 4th read of it. I have never reread the Enchanted Sonata because I haven't owned it for that long. Or it hasn't been that long since I first read it. I think I read it Christmas 2023. So it hasn't been that long yet. But these are the Christmas books that I would recommend. If you have any good Christmas holiday book recommendations, because they are far and few between, as I said, leave them down below for me as well as for everyone else watching. I'm sure we all would appreciate it. And that is it for my little recommendation segment. Du guckst so böse.
Ja, weil ich was organisieren will.
Du so.
Ja, wegen meinem Pilz.
So, guess who has COVID? Yeah. This video was supposed to go up a week ago. It's not even finished. I haven't finished editing it yet. Because your girl was sick with COVID. Remember in the beginning when I said my throat kind of hurts? Yeah. That was 2 weeks ago. And looking back, that didn't age well, okay? It didn't. I just washed my hair, which is why it looks like this. It's not that greasy. It was that greasy before I washed it, I'm gonna be so honest. I don't know, when I'm sick, like, I hate the feeling on my head when my hair is super greasy, but when I'm sick and I have like such limited resources, using them to wash my hair just seems kind of wasteful, you know? Overall, I'm doing okay. I had like fever the last weekend, but mostly I'm through now. I want to do another COVID test today to see if I'm like negative again, because I didn't go to school this week, even though I wanted to. Like, I was sick over last weekend, and then on Monday I only had an online class, and on Tuesday I was like, you know what, I only have 1 class in the morning, I'll just go and like, it'll be fine. And then I did a COVID test, which was positive, obviously. And so I texted my prof, and I was like, hey. And he was like, please stay the fuck away. And I was like, okay, yeah, valid. So I didn't go to uni this week, which was kind of annoying. I am feeling okay. As you can hear, I have a little bit of a cough. Everything is very slimy inside my lungs. I have asthma. So COVID is never that fun for me, but this is my 3rd time being positive, and I've never been like seriously ill. Like this time and the first time I had it, I was like sick. But like, I've been sicker with other things. Remember last year when I had scarlet fever? Good times. I am feeling okay. as I said, my lung is a little bit stuffed. It'll clear up in like 4 months. It's fine. And yeah, the only good thing that came of this is the fact that I actually did finish Murder for Christmas, and I can give you a review of it. I have to blow my nose first though. Oh, and also the fact that we have a Christmas tree now and you actually get to see it in the vlog. Yeah, so Murder for Christmas, I finished reading it. I thought the ending was good. I liked the ending. I'm gonna say I do think it was somewhat predictable. Like, I'm not somebody who consciously tries to solve the murder mystery in mystery books, because I just tell me, you know, you already know what's gonna happen, just tell me. But I think if I had put like a little bit of brain juice into it, specifically if I didn't have COVID while reading it, I think I could have gotten there. Yeah, so I do think it was good. I have yet to find like I want a Christmas murder mystery where it is particularly Christmassy and cozy because the murder happens. You know, like where this tragic event kind of brings people together and I don't know, where just the murder is not the disruptive force, but the bringing together force. Because I haven't really read anything like that. If you have a recommendation for that, I don't know if that's a trope necessarily, but if you know any books with that trope, hit me up. Other than that, am I gonna pick up another book in the Mordecai Tremaine series? I don't think so. I thought Mordecai Tremaine as a character was really fun. However, the writing with like the full government name thing, I don't know, I couldn't get over it. It just annoyed me the entire time. So it was fine, but it's not going in the yearly Christmas reread rotation. As I said, Christmas books, they're all bad. If you know any good Christmas books, I am in desperate need, okay? Please hit me up. Then I also finished The Son of Neptune, and I liked it. I liked it a lot more than the first book. In retrospective, I enjoyed the first book, but the second book felt so much more high stakes. Like it felt like it had a purpose within a larger story, whereas the first book really felt like its own condensed thing. Right now it kind of feels like you could completely skip the first book and not miss any of the main storyline, which is not a good thing. Yeah, but I really did enjoy the second book. Yeah, and now I'm reading A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. If you know, you know. It is the Christmas book. It is time to read it, okay? I'm having a good time, and that finally brings us to the end of the video. I hope you had a good time. Sorry about getting COVID, I guess. Be grateful for your health and all of that. And I will see you all. Am I gonna see you again this year? Is this our last time talking in 2025? It might be. Actually, I hope not. I have a couple of other reading plans. Video plans. So let's say this is not our last time talking this year, okay? I will see you in the next video. If you celebrate Christmas or any other holidays around this time of year, I hope you have a good time celebrating them, and I will see you all. Bye.